does clean even mean anymore? Let's try this again. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I am Britt, creator of the Style Shaker, your guide to cleaner and greener beauty, and I am back today with a quick where I was versus where I am now, and a take on what clean beauty, the word clean, actually means. Does it really exist? I'm gonna dive into that along with updates on some changes that are happening over here. You wanna hear more about whether or not I think clean beauty really exists? Spoiler alert, clean beauty, in my opinion, it's changed, but I don't think it does, but I'll tell you why. Let's get into it. A lot of people ask me how I got started. I was at a wedding in wine country, and one of my newly pregnant friends was telling me that she was going through an audit of sorts, and I was like, what are you talking about? Are you doing taxes? She explained how she was switching up her skincare, makeup, all the rest of it in an effort to keep things less harmful as the new baby was making its way into the world. So at the time she was considering working for Beauty Counter, she was showing me all of the different kind of content that they have about the dirty ingredients and what's bad and how things haven't changed in forever. She was telling me all this and I was getting kind of palpitations, but I also had a really bad cold, so it was probably that too. Not important. 6 months later, it had been in the back of my mind. I started kind of looking through stuff, but it really took a little bit for me to kind of grasp onto what this whole clean thing meant. As soon as I did, also, it was just a crazy time in my life, like job changes, home changes. Once that all settled, once the dust settled, I sat down in my apartment and I was like, okay, let's just look at a couple of my products. Why not? So I had a Chanel eyeshadow and one of the ingredients was Teflon. Cut to an hour later, surrounded on the floor with all these products, reading these boxes. A lot of them I'd have to research because it's on the box, not on the actual bottle. I was freaking out, like legitimately freaking out, sitting there going, oh my God, I'm putting terrible things on my face every day. Which I think a lot of us can relate to, this beginning stage of just pure fear, which I don't want for people. I don't want you to be afraid. I don't want this to be a fear-mongering, alarmist channel. That's not at all what this is about. I was sitting there freaked out, and that's where I was, which led me to starting to find these products and putting a camera on a stand and then talking to you guys about it, like not knowing at all what I was talking about. 300 plus products later, over 2 million minutes watched on this channel, over 6,000 subscribers. Now we're here. This is so low. I work on my tripod. You would think that after testing hundreds of products, like I just mentioned, that I would be getting closer to some form of clarity here. Like some form of, oh my gosh, this makes sense. And yet the exact opposite has happened and my perspective has drastically shifted. So that's why at the beginning of this video, I talk about clean beauty and how I don't think it exists anymore. I know. You're like, wait, what are you talking about? This is what your whole channel's about. This is what the products are that you review. Why are you even saying that? Some of you are probably like, what? There is no one standard definition, universally accepted definition of what clean beauty means. Like you can look up Merriam-Webster, you can see what clean, the definition of clean is. It's been slapped on bottles, slapped on websites, and it has become incredibly diluted as a word. So whatever it was is just sort of this like amorphous blob that keeps changing. And that has led to a ton of confusion on behalf of the consumer, fear-mongering and alarmist kind of rhetoric out there. It's led to questionable marketing tactics, which, hey, this is nothing new. This happened again with the food industry, but the power that was behind the word, in my opinion, has faded so much because it's just confusing now. People are like, is it clean? Is it not clean? Is it clean? Is it not clean? You're like, what does clean even mean anymore? The other thing is, it's not black and white. When I first started, I thought that I was going 100% clean. There's no question in my mind. Very black and white. I was gonna find the data, apply it to what I owned, get rid of stuff, and get the right things that are better for me and healthier for me. And the more I tested, the more I realized this is not a black and white situation for a number of reasons. One of which is there is insufficient data everywhere. There are underfunded studies or just no studies, and it's allowed the definition of clean to just be fair game. So it makes sense that it is where it is right now. Plus you have people like me going, I don't think it's clean. I think it should be this. And that's currently happening. But really the reason I'm recording this is because I have over 6,000 subscribers, which to some might not be like a lot. To me, it's a huge thing. I care so much about what I've created over here. I feel like a sense of responsibility that I take seriously. I might not take a ton seriously, but I take this seriously. Don't want to be a part of the problem. I want to be a part of the solution. if there is one. The bottom line here is I no longer believe that the term clean beauty is valid. The term that I'm going to be using is cleaner beauty. I know it's 2 letters, but it makes a world of difference, and I'll tell you why. Because when it comes to labeling a product, slapping on a sticker or doing whatever to say clean and like non-toxic and all the rest of it, but it comes to doing that with one product that is filled with multiple different types of ingredients for different reasons and calling that universally clean to all, I'm open to being proven wrong here, but I do not think that is an appropriate use of the term clean. Within one product, like I said, there are multiple different types of ingredients. They're all used for different reasons. So I have kind of chunked them up into 3 different buckets. Keep it short and sweet. You have your first bucket. I don't know about bucket, but I'm gonna stick with that one. So you have your first bucket, your first type, I'll say type, nicer, is the black and white harmful ingredients. There is no question that these are not good for humans, these are not good for the earth, these are not good for animals. Clear, conclusive evidence behind them, third-party reviewed studies, not safe. Example, asbestos, not good. Then there is the second type of ingredient, and this is the gray area ingredient. This is where it gets really muddy and confusing, and you're like, who do I believe? Do I believe the chemist? Do I believe the influencer? Do I believe the mom that I know down the street? Like, who do I believe? These are the ingredients that have conflicting evidence behind them, quite a bit of chatter out there. When they are put into a product, there are variables that need to be looked at. For instance, the percentage of the product used, it's important. The way it's used, is it hydrated or is it just a powder? The sourcing of the product is important, and whether or not there's been cross-contamination, also very important. That kind of goes back to sourcing and manufacturing practices, whatever. An example here would be phenoxyethanol. And then there is the final type, and this is the personal type. It gets personal. And this is all based off of the old adage, one person's poison is another person's cure. For instance, coconut oil. My body loves it. My skin's like, yes, bring it, love it. A lot of people can't even touch the stuff. It will just break them out. The bonus round here is all this is always changing. Like there's new data, there's new evidence, there's new ingredients, and it starts getting to the point where people are marketing things based off of what's not in the product versus looking at what's inside the product. So the consumers are like, well, it doesn't have parabens, so it's clean. Don't forget, keep going back to what is inside, and it usually changes. So because of all of these factors, because of these 3 types of ingredients, there is no way that I could take one product and be like, it's clean for everybody, you're good, buy it, you're fine, you'll be fine. There's also no way that I can answer the questions that I receive from you. Is this clean? Is this bad for me? They're good questions. I have them too. You just need to look at these variables. Sure, at this point you're kind of like, oh my God, so you're telling me as a consumer I have to look at this, this, and this? Like, where am I gonna find this? What am I gonna do? That, don't worry, that takes me to the next spot. This is where the scorecards come in. This is where I go to make sense of things. Are they the end all be all? Is that where you should stop and just take my word for it? No, I never have advocated that. I've never suggested that. Use what serves you, discard the rest. Know that these are coming from somebody who is not a chemist. I am in no way a cosmetic chemist. I am not a dermatologist. I am not a doctor. I am somebody who has just become ridiculously passionate about ingredients. So the scorecards are sticking around. They're just getting a bit more comprehensive when it comes to the background check that I do on ingredients. You're not technically going to see that mumbly jumbly mess, which is kind of the point of service here. So you don't have to necessarily dive all the way in, but I kind of hopefully give you a bit of a Cliff's Notes take on things, if that makes sense. So the scorecards are going to review ingredient info, they address environmental impact, they address a bunch of other things that you've probably already seen, but they also address performance, which is key for knowing whether or not to buy things. The benefit of this kind of point of view on cleaner and greener is that it's not all or nothing. Don't be ashamed if you're using a product that maybe has an ingredient in there. It could be fine for you. Like, that's not what this is about. This is about giving you the best information I can, coming at it from my perspective and what I've learned, so you are informed and can make a better decision towards cleaner and greener and safer products, less harmful products for you. When I talk about ingredients and the sources, I, as one person, as I said, not a chemist, doctor, all the rest of it, I have to rely on some sources out there. It's just the reality of it for me. I no longer put all my eggs in one basket. This is one of the other changes. I was putting everything into the EWG. For me, it was always a starting point. It wasn't the end all be all, but also using other resources out there. I've cherry picked and learned and taken bits from here and taken the best from here, and I've added that all together to make this StyleShaker special sauce when I evaluate. The ingredient evaluation is based on an aggregate of what I've learned from my most trusted sources. I will be making updates on that starter guide. That's going to happen. There will be a free version. I will most likely be publishing an expanded version that is a pay-to-play, just going to be more comprehensive, a lot more time, a lot more information in there for you. I'm not going back to change all of my videos. There's not enough time. There's not enough time. So if you happen to see an older video, even last year, just know that I'm not going back and redoing the data or the description. But going forward, any of the scorecards that I report on will have a little bit of a different feel when it comes to the notes next to ingredients. No longer saying clean, it's going to be cleaner. No longer staying green, it's going to be greener. But really, that's the main gist of it. You know, words are going to change. My approach on ingredient intelligence is going to change. Know that if I talk about an ingredient 6 months ago, my mind might change. I just want to be really clear and upfront. As I learn more, things will shift and change, but I will always be honest with you. Those are the updates. That's where I was. This is where I am now. Clean beauty is having a moment, and it's going to continue to have its moment, and I like that it's having a moment. I think there's a way to use this. There's a way to leverage this wave of momentum going on. And I hope that this is a space where you feel safe to leave comments, leave your questions, understand that you might not always get black and white answers because this is a very gray subject matter, but you have a community here that you can turn to and ask questions of and feel good about. So that's all I have for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you found it helpful, make sure you give it a thumbs up to support the channel. As always, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another video like this one, and I will see you right back here real soon. Until then, bye.